Good morning, everyone. I'm Anna Adea, Key Accounts Manager from Lamudi, and I will be your host for today's webinar, Real Estate Spotlight, How CLI Achieved Record-Breaking Sales Amid the Pandemic. With all the changes brought on by the pandemic, it is important for us to celebrate all the wins. And one property developer who have successfully mastered digital marketing amid the pandemic is Cebu Landmasters. In fact, they achieved record-breaking sales in the first half of 2021. Joining us today is Cebu Landmasters Director, EVP, and COO, Mr. Franco Soberano. Thank you for joining us, Franco.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you to Lamudi for organizing this event.
For property developers, the pandemic uncovered new challenges, but also presented new opportunities. I'm sure everyone is curious to know how Cebu Landmasters fared during trying times. Despite the pandemic, we learned CLI achieved record-breaking reservation sales for the first half of 2021 at 8.5 billion pesos, which is at 14% growth versus last year. What would you say helped in achieving this milestone?
Well, I would be very honest that just like all developers, we were apprehensive. We were not prepared for a unforeseen event like this. But we just really stuck to what we did well, which was providing very good homes, providing very good support and partnership to all those who depend on the industry, the brokers, the suppliers, the security agency. So we were the developer that said, how can we help them? And the only way to really help them was to sustain the business. So it started there, and with everything we've invested, our expansion around Vismin for the last 5 years, we have really positioned ourselves very well, especially in the economic to middle market segments. So we all say that as the dust settled towards the later part of last year, there was one thing very certain, Anna. The home or the house is really the best PPE, as they say. And it's really true. So people started to realize that home ownership was very and is very, very important. So CLI just made home ownership easier. We have many projects to choose from: Cebu, Davao, Cagayan, Bacolod, Iloilo, all the key cities. And we, as a homegrown developer, just made ourselves very generous, very affordable terms to make ownership attainable in the time of pandemic. And that really paved the way for record-breaking sales. And we see the trend continuing to improve.
Congratulations on that record-breaking achievement, Franco. I'm sure that in all those transactions, you have uncovered a bit about the changing market and home buyer preference. How has the perception of home changed due to the current health crisis, and how has CLI addressed these changes? Are there any features that have made your real estate developments more desirable despite the changing needs and wants?
Well, thankfully, with or without a pandemic, we really had a very selfless approach to real estate. We've always been very generous. Even if it's an affordable housing project or a high-end project, our amenities are really known to give more than expected. So we always have a little more space, a little more greenery, and that prepared us very well for this pandemic. However, now, with the post-pandemic or with the new normal, we had a chance to really design new projects according to better standards. So we have projects like Mantra Residences that have the biggest amenity area. We incorporated new normal amenities like wellness lounges, recovery areas, co-working areas. And we're very proud that these projects are selling very well because of the new features.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
So what real estate trends did you see during the pandemic? Was there a strong demand for specific development types and locations during this time?
Yeah, very much. The strongest segments were really in the economic to middle market segments. The high-end segment was stable, but I would say it was the economic and middle market segments that even grew during the height of the pandemic, meaning these are homes costing from 1.5 million pesos to as much as 4 million pesos. I believe this really caters to the majority of the Filipino population. That is the purchasing power that caters to the majority of the population. And that's where CLI has majority of its products. So I would say that's a trend. There's also a trend of finding homes close to the workplaces. So we have projects near Cebu IT Park, Cebu Business Park. We have projects in Davao, close to the CBDs or downtown areas. In Bacolod, we're just across really the highway. So people are very cognizant that their home should be closer to work or closer to the schools. I think one of the learnings pandemic is you want to travel near to where you need to be. So it goes back to the favorite three words of real estate, Anna: location, location, location. Thankfully, CLI has always been very disciplined with that.
Yes, that's true. So given that, which were your most saleable developments and why do you think these were very much in demand?
So our most saleable really was our housing project called Casamira. So Casamira is our take on the ideal kind of economic housing. We try to break the norm because economic housing is kind of compared to very tight spaces, very monotonous design. So we kind of broke the mold there and really created a Casamira, which is affordable housing with a lot of value add, better design. You'll have 20-meter roads in an economic housing project in the middle. You'll have amenity areas with swimming pools. You'll have a lot of green spaces. So our Casamira is actually the award-winning brand that we've rolled out across Visayas Mindanao. And we saw our Casamira projects in Cebu, in Cagayan de Oro. We also have in Ormoc, Iloilo. These were selling out very well. I mean, in Cebu alone, our Casamira, our biggest with over 40 hectares, with 4,000 units, is sold out. So, so buyers really recognize it. Buyers see value. They will really scrutinize development. So my advice for fellow developers is, we'll have to really look at our products, improve these, keep innovating because our buyers really deserve the best.
That's true. You mentioned earlier that the mid-market and economic housing units accounted for the biggest chunk of your sales. This is interesting, especially considering the financial crisis context last year. What do you think contributed to the buying power of the mid-market and economic market segment?
Yeah, well, as I said, home ownership really is something that became more urgent now. So I do believe that that there are really young first-time homeowners or even those who are still renting there who really have the capacity, but they've just really been hesitating or they've been prioritizing their other necessities. So because it's not it's really affordable nowadays. For example, our Casamira projects, you'll have to invest as low as 4 to 5,000 pesos a month. So over pandemic, if you have that 4 to 5,000 pesos a month that you can spare for your family, then home ownership can be realized, right? So thankfully, in places in the Visayas Mindanao, for example, Cebu, we've been on continuous MGCQ or the lightest quarantine since July. So we've been able to really revive the economy slowly but surely. Many jobs have been preserved, thankfully, and that has given confidence. I think, Anna, for us in the real estate industry, it requires that consumer confidence to return. And thankfully, I can say in the Visayas Mindanao areas, with cases becoming a little more manageable, home buying is now returning strongly.
Really interesting insights, Franco. Indeed, the market has changed, and this change also presented new challenges to property developers amid the pandemic. Which new challenges came up in terms of sales during these times?
Well, as you know, at the height of pandemic, there's probably 4 months when we're all at home. So imagine, how can we sell these homes without interaction with our customers, right? How can we sell these homes when the buyers cannot even see the sites? And they are investing in the millions. They're investing their life savings into these homes. And I'm sure all of you know the answer to it. It's really the shift to a digitalized selling approach. So Cebu Landmasters really pivoted and invested immediately, in digitalization efforts. So buyers can, do virtual tours of our projects. We have very good virtual tours on our website. Even the simpler digital or technology efforts, like, right, Zoom calls. We even have virtual turnovers and inspections. I think beyond technology, right? Technology is there, but it's how the people use the technology. Our team is really very responsive, meaning when we are emailed by a customer, there is that expectation that we reply immediately. We reply transparently. So I would say digitalization is there, but it's also the culture of our company that's very customer oriented, that we make sure the digital efforts are really accompanied by good customer service. And that's how, the challenges were overcome. So many more, we've had virtual groundbreaking ceremonies, virtual launches. Of course, we all miss the physical events, and I'm sure those will come back. But for now, the virtual arena is quite helpful and effective.
Yes, that's good. Yeah, that's good to know, really. Yes, and a lot of developers really has transitioned, going digital in terms of their marketing and selling during this pandemic. In terms of construction, how was the construction schedule of your developments? What kind of delays, if any, did they experience due to tightened community restrictions at the start of the year?
Okay, so this is one of the strengths that CLI has reported. Now, as a publicly listed company, we really managed to sustain construction operations, meaning we never had a construction site that stopped. Thankfully, in Visayas and Mindanao, while we are not spared, we are really able to sustain some operations. No? So we've been able to support construction workers by allowing them to work on sites, giving them proper bunk houses and well sanitized facilities. So at the height of last year, we were probably able to still continue construction at 50 to as much as 90%. But at the start of this year, we're actually back to 100% across our 30 construction projects already. Yeah, I would credit that really to several LGUs that have really monitored things very well. I would credit that to our contractors who have really been very strict about protocols that thankfully we've been able to resustain. It's very difficult, Anna, as a developer to stop a construction site. It's so difficult to remobilize again. So this is one of the key success areas of CLI, because we've been able to sustain operations. Our delays have really been mitigated, and we are now really catching up to the original target schedules.
That's good. That's good to know that you're back 100%. How were you able to help property seekers afford their dream property during the height of the pandemic? What were some of the promos you offered, if any?
Yeah, there have been several. I would really give a lot of credit to our sales head, Miss Rose Yulo, and her team in collaboration with our business development marketing group. So we've really been very agile. No, we started with low down payment terms, meaning we to help our customers, we would accept down payments for as low as 10%, and you spread these down payments over 3 years. That allows our homeowners to pay as low as 5,000 a month to as much as 10,000 a month for very good homes and properties. So other than that, no, we've given a lot of good discounts to our homeowners, so that they can avail. Aside from that, we are also also realists. No, at the time of pandemic, we need to be very supportive. So we've also helped buyers defer payments, meaning we've helped them to restructure payments to make it lighter for them as they prioritize their health and necessities. What's important to us is that the buyers keep their investment. And in CLI, we'll always find a way to support. Aside from keeping their investment, we're just so proud. We sold more than 5,000 homes in the last few months. So we see that people are really back to work. People are now ready to invest again. And we can really attest to that based on the results that we've had.
That's great to know that there's some flexibility given and support, to these home seekers. So what health protocols did you introduce in your residential communities to give tenants peace of mind?
Yes, of course. We are really strictly following the IATF guidelines, and in as far as the curfews, the restrictions of guests. We in CLI have our own property management arm. We proudly manage more than 30 completed projects around the Philippines. This allows us to really stay true to what we say. In CLI, we always say we build with you in mind. So we build with you in mind, not just when we construct, but we build with you in mind when you already move in and we manage your property. So there's very strict sanitation. There's demisting regularly. Memos and guidelines are regularly sent and communicated to all our residents. And we're very proud. We actually work with our homeowners associations, meaning in our properties, we have residents who are part of our homeowners. So we work closely with them. And that's really the key to success. It's our homeowners who are our best advocates. And they're the ones policing and reminding their neighbors to really comply with these guidelines. So we're very proud. I think we really learned during the pandemic that we're very lucky to have very good and supportive homeowners who work closely with us as the developer.
Given all these information, CLI is indeed a force to be reckoned with, even in these trying times. Now, Franco, I'm curious to know what's in store for the real estate market and CLI in the second half of 2021 and beyond.
Yes, so we are definitely not done. If we already set our record in the first half, we are really lining up a few more launches. We are actually getting into beachside condo development. As you know, we're a bit spoiled here in Cebu. Now, as your colleague mentioned, she's from Cebu. I can see Mactan just across my office, so it's 40 minutes away. So there is really that rush to invest in more healthy environments like a beachfront. So we're about to get into a mid-market beach condo development, so that beach condo living can be more affordable and accessible. We're continuing to do a lot of subdivisions, of course. We're launching a lot of mid-market projects as well in cities like Davao, Bohol. Now, Visayas and Mindanao, Ana, is really a developing market, and it's not saturated at all. So we are really very motivated to make sure more of our neighbors here in Vismin can own a home. Of course, as you know, CLI is a well-diversified developer. We're also into hotels. We're also into mall developments. We're also in mixed-use development. So one of our products is really mixed-use projects where you can live, work, play, pray, and even in the future study. So these mixed-use projects, I would say, are one of the in-demand projects, because in a post-pandemic society, we'd like to live where we work, play near where we live. So these mixed-use projects with residences, malls, hotels, offices in the same area are really going to be very successful in the new normal. And especially resorts, we really feel that tourism will bounce back strongly. Times are still very challenging now, but CLI is already positioning for the recovery in 2022, 2023. So we have new resort developments we're about to announce. We have announced one of our major launches a few months ago. We're announcing a Sofitel in Cebu City that will be finished in 2025. So we believe in the tourism story of our country. The most hospitable people in the world are Filipinos. There's no bigger heart than the heart of the Filipino. So we're excited to continue rolling out these projects to help support our economy and our people.
Yes, that's so true. Filipinos are really the most hospitable. So would you say your strong reservation sales for your market segment is indicative of an increase in investment appetite from the economic and mid-market residential segments in particular, or does this reflect the same across all segments?
I would really say that these segments have always been strong. But the pandemic has really opened the eyes of many home buyers, even overseas Filipinos, that homes are really a must investment. Now, as you know, Anna, and this might sound like a broken record, or you've heard it many times, about our housing backlog, right? The housing backlog, and it's very true. I mean, there are really not enough homes. There are not enough good homes out there. In Vismin, we say that the backlog is 200,000 to 400,000 a year, and you add that, right? I think Vismin is only able to deliver less than 100,000 homes a year. So you have the unserved market growing every year. So these markets have always had that demand. And now in the new normal, this need is really more urgent. So it's our duty, as developers to really cater very well, cater very responsibly, very generously to the market. So I wouldn't say, pre-pandemic, post-pandemic, I would say the demand has always been there. But now there's just a little more urgency in that demand.
Has there been a pandemic-induced change in your vision for your company? Can you tell us about them, and will they stay in the long term?
Our vision really is to be the leader in Visayas Mindanao. And how do we do that? It's really by being the most customer-centric and community-centric developer. I think that has not changed. Because being a customer-centric, community-centric, we really looked after our customers and communities first during the pandemic. That was first on our minds. And then how did that reflect in the way we delivered projects? Imagine, Anna, at the height of pandemic, I went to Cagayan de Oro in September to turn over a new project, meaning we were the only ones having turnover ceremonies, in the middle of pandemic. We went to Davao recently. We started turning over our project called Mesa Tierra in Davao. So our vision has always remained there. And we're proud that this vision continues to stay relevant with the pandemic. Because our customers see our sincerity in why we're doing this business, and with that we're continuing our expansion because we know that we have the best team who really cares about his customer, and that will make us a better real estate developer. But talking about the market, right? I think there was a news report that our new census, we're at 109 million population already. I think the last census in 2015, we're at 100 million. 9 million more Filipinos. So, I'm a student of real estate, and demographics are really one of the best indicators of real estate demand and supply. So I would say our vision, being a developer that's very customer first in mindset, um, will be able to be at the forefront of serving that need that is growing in the market. So we are really more motivated, to be honest, Anna. We're still looking at so many developments, even bigger ones. We are developing townships now, where I said in the new normal, people want to be closer in better, healthier environments. So we look forward to those opportunities. And I would say our attitude, the attitude of our founder, Mr. Joe Soberano, is we have to continue to improve. I think that's attitude very important, because pandemic or not, we have to continue innovating, improving, making our products better for our customers. I hope that's a good message I can relay to our viewers.
Given the new normal lifestyle now, marked by physical distancing and remote work, how will the design of your future properties change?
Thankfully, even before pandemic, right, we already invested in a lot of green buildings. We probably have some 4-star Verde certified projects. Our new launch in the Sofitel and corporate center is a LEED Gold applied building. So these certifications really reflect the health of a building, right? But I would say, in response to your question, we're looking at incorporating really working spaces in our new residential development, so that adaptable learning or what they call this, working from home, can really be tailor fitted to our customers. So we're even doing promos where free internet for at least a year is given as part of our package for the unit owner, because these are really, there's going to be an adjustment period for sure this year, next year. So we just want to make sure that our projects will be adaptable, whether this new normal will stay as the new normal, or whether we go back to how it was before. So I would say our spaces should be adaptable, is how we're designing our new projects.
Earlier, you mentioned the importance of a good location, and this pandemic has highlighted further the importance of a convenient location. Given this, what property hotspots in the Visman area are you looking to invest in the near future?
Yeah, so we're currently really in all the major cities in Visayas Mindanao. These are cities that are regional centers on its own. Cebu caters to Metro Cebu caters to the Cebu Island and neighboring islands. In Western Visayas, Iloilo, Bacolod are really the key centers that caters to a lot of the cities and towns Western Visayas. But where we're not yet in, we're really looking at cities like Butuan City. We're looking at General Santos as the next landing spots of Cebu Landmasters.
Wow, really expanding, and hopefully it pushes through. What an informative webinar this has been. And that concludes our Lamudi webinar episode, Real Estate Spotlight, How CLI Achieved Record-Breaking Sales Amid the Pandemic, with Mr. Franco Soberano, Director, EVP, and COO of Cebu Landmasters, the leading residential developer in the Visman region. On behalf of Lamudi, thank you, Franco, for taking time to talk about the current real estate landscape and how Cebu Landmasters has achieved its goals by adapting to the changes brought on by the pandemic. We look forward to talking to you again, and here's to more sales to come.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you to the Lamudi team. It's always a pleasure. And thank you for organizing webinars like this that really inform our market very well. Thank you very much, and more power to you.
Thank you as well again, Franco.